The career of Bullet for My Valentine has been a rocky one. After the explosion of their first 3 records, the band have been through a tumultuous time with a numerous amount of member exits and records that haven't quite delivered. The last time we saw Bullet for My Valentine was on 2015's Venom, a record that showed the band return to their root sound after the critically panned Temper. But today we're here to talk about the band's latest effort, Gravity, a record that sees the band take another swing at mainstream appeal. Gravity is a record for me that is quite a confusing listen. To see a band like Bullet for My Valentine, who have written such massive hits throughout their career, go in the direction explored on this record, is truly baffling. And the combination of sounds explored on Gravity really make no sense when they're put together. They sound like they're battling for the spotlight while the listener sits there wondering what the hell's going on. This record contains a lot of passages that'll take the listener right back to the early 2000s. Not in a good way. Those are then contrasted by sections that show the band attempting to copy the formula used on That's the Spirit by Bring Me the Horizon. I'm not even slightly kidding when I say this. It seems that whenever Bring Me the Horizon put out a new record, a wealth of bands spend the next few years attempting to replicate that sound, and that is obviously the case on this record. From the breathy, almost whispered vocals that attempt to sound sensual, to the almost orchestral use of clean guitars and synths that are used to be the basis for many of the verses on Gravity, the influence is very clear. The very last time seems to be Bullet for My Valentine's attempt at Follow You from that very record. It's drab and plotty and doesn't contain any of the grandiosity that the band were obviously hoping to achieve. I do think the record opens up really nicely with the 1-2 punch of the arena-ready Leap of Faith and the groove-driven Over It. Both songs contain a good mix of the Bullet for My Valentine of old while experimenting with new sounds that will be explored throughout the remainder of the record. The opening riff to Over It, I think, is one of the strongest you will find on Gravity and is sure to be a crowd pleaser live. And while I do believe the chorus of Over It does bring it down a little bit, I do think these 2 opening tracks are the best songs that you will find on Gravity. I do believe this record confirms something that a lot of people have been thinking for a very long time, and that is Bullet for My Valentine are very good at writing a very specific style of music. Because whenever the band have attempted to step outside of that sound, it just hasn't worked. Letting You Go is probably the best example of this that can be found in any of Bullet for My Valentine's back catalogue. My God, this song is awful. From the lyrics that read, first you want to hate me, then you want to love me, this is how I'm feeling, I'm just letting you know, to the melody that accompanies them. This song not only sounds dated, but highlights Bullet for My Valentine's weakest qualities. Now, Matt Tuck isn't the best lyricist in the world, but his subpar lyrics have often been covered up by great melodies and vocal performances that have sounded emotional and angsty, something that really resonates with people. This is not the case with Letting You Go, which is a shame because I actually really enjoy the main riff to this track, but when it's combined with the lyrics and melody on this song, it's a terrible combination. And Piece of Me just feels like a slightly different Letting You Go. It's a little bit better, but that's really not saying a lot. This song is still horribly constructed and lyrically flawed. I just don't understand how a line like, "Let it sink, don't swim, I was in too deep," gets the okay from everyone involved in this record. Nearly the entirety of this track is the same riff, repeated constantly before a bridge comes in to bring something new to the song before it reverts back to that same riff again to close it out. I think the part that irritates me the most about Gravity is found within the vocal production. It's absolutely atrocious. It's almost as if Matt Tuck sung a bunch of words into a sampler and played them on a keyboard. They're so hard tuned and cut up so badly that it takes away any rhythm or flow that could have been there and strips away any of the emotion that could have been heard in Matt's voice. Matt Tuck has never been the greatest vocalist in the world, but God, they didn't have to do this to him. But on top of this, the vocals are so low in the mix that they usually get lost, and it's really evident in a song like Not Dead Yet. Don't Need You injects some heaviness back into the record, but unfortunately it's not enough to make you forget about the drabness that you've just experienced for the last half hour. It really should have been the song to close out the record. At least it would have finished out Gravity with a hard-edged full stop. But instead we are made to suffer through the acoustic ballad known as Breathe Underwater. Out of all of the softer moments on Gravity, this track brings a whole new definition to the word shite. I don't even have the words to describe this song. It's just awful. Don't listen to it. There's so many more things you could be doing with your time than listening to this song. And the little whimpered huzzs at the end of every chorus make me audibly laugh every time I hear them. On Gravity, Bullet for My Valentine have hit a new low, and while it's promising to see the band still experimenting this far into their career, it's just not working at all. Sadly, this record shows that the band are truly past their prime, and their attempt at a new mainstream radio rock sound is sure to see them drift further into obscurity. And I'm going to give this record a 25 out of 100. And that's all I've got for you guys. Make sure you follow myself and Kill Your Stereo at all our socials down in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.
First you wanna hate